Gemini, welcome to your March 2017 general tarot reading. It's Raina here, and first things first, I just want to thank everyone for commenting. Just keep in mind that YouTube has kind of changed with the alerts, and sometimes I do not see your comments right away, and that has been a bit frustrating because everything was cool and they changed it. So, even with the private messages, I always like to be able to send those to other people myself and know that other people wouldn't be reading it. And they changed that. Now, that was a long time ago. But, if you're using YouTube a lot, you know what I'm talking about. And it's just a little bit aggravating. I do appreciate everyone who comments, and know that even if I don't acknowledge your email, that I do try to read them, but sometimes I don't read them until days later. And sometimes, they're even holding them as spam. So that's really weird too. I mean, when it's not just like a repetitive email, they're still holding things as spam that are perfectly fine. And then they tell me I can click on the comment to make it go public. But it's like all this rigmarole for what, just so, if I read the comment, that's what matters. But I don't get it. One thing I don't like is when it doesn't make any sense. If something makes sense, then I'm okay with it. If it's kind of efficient. But when things don't make sense to me, then that's when I get a little bit irritated by it. So it is what it is, right? So I wanted to tell you about some transits in March. One of the big ones, because it doesn't happen all the time, is the Venus retrograde happening at 13 degrees of Aries. And for you, this is actually in your 11th house of hopes and wishes. And it's going back into your 10th house of career. So the 10th and 11th houses are goals and also your actual career. So those things can be in focus for you. And really, with Venus, it can even be monetary. There could be money involved. And so maybe you had this goal or this dream of yours to be able to do something, and you didn't have the funds for it initially. And when Venus goes retrograde, all of a sudden, you do. And, because the 10th house is also involved during the time of the transit, you may be kind of even reevaluating a career. And, looking at it from a monetary perspective as well as whether or not your values are, does it live up to what you had dreamt for yourself? You may have something that is very lucrative, but it's not in alignment with your dreams of where you want to be. And that can be kind of frustrating, because you may have a perfectly good situation, but you're still feeling unfulfilled. So it doesn't mean that that's how it's going to play out for you, but that could just be an example of what the review looks like. The 11th house is supposed to be the luckiest house. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires for Gemini individuals. And let's see what else is happening. We're going to have a full moon on March 12th in the sign of Virgo. And this is your 4th house of home and family. So you could have, if you're selling your house, that could be the time when it goes up, where you actually sell it. Or you decide that you want to move. You decide you're done with the place that you're living at. It could be that you find out something about your parents, like it comes to your attention. Could be specifically the mother, but there may be some awareness that comes in. It could have something to do with any kind of maybe even your past, where you realize something that has always been there, but you never really connected the dots, that is dealing with, your growing up years. And you're like, yeah, that's why I am the way that I am. At the end of the month, we're going to have a new moon in Aries. So back to that hopes and wishes area. So that can be very good for anything that has to do with, following your dreams. And so, yeah, sounds really good. Okay. Well, I can tell already. I mean, this really looks like a career reading for a lot of you. And the 10th house is activated in that whole scenario that I, not scenario, the actual transit of Venus, because, and that's the house of career. The overall message is the 7, or the heart of the matter, 7 of Wands, which is about you standing your ground against people trying to, I was going to say people trying to attack you, but it could be just kind of, it doesn't have to be that, severe, but it could be that somebody or some people are trying to, even on a verbal level, trying to imply that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve what you have. If you, let's say you have a, promotion, there may be people, maybe they were your coworkers, or are your coworkers, and they're trying to make it hard on, for you to do what you need to do. They're not being cooperative. We actually have, and this is why I say specifically about career, because this is coming from the past, and this is the Ace of Pentacles. It could be the recent past, where you were offered a new job. Maybe you just started on the job, and, or it could be a new beginning, so it could be a promotion. I do think that for some of you it would be more like a promotion. Although it could be, even if you're like just starting at a new place, there may be people there who feel threatened, because that, the lower mind or the petty mind, when people are in a workplace situation, they can, become, I say reptilian, because the reptilian brain is all about survival mode. So it's the first chakra. And what'll happen is people that are petty or, in that lower consciousness, their whole thing is about, I want to be the one that is, the top dog, let's say. And they will do anything it takes. And they don't have the ethics that, is required to be a good person. They don't have that because they believe the ends justifies the means, because they're so locked into this idea of not having X amount of money or the status. And so they will, even if they're not doing a good job and you come in and you, or maybe they don't even have the qualifications, so they couldn't qualify for whatever job it is, but they see somebody new coming into the situation, rather than welcoming them into that company, that corporation, whatever the environment, they may try to make it hard on you, and they may try to imply that you don't deserve what you have. So you have to stand your ground. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be defensive. It may not mean that you interact with them at all, but it's basically even believing that you deserve it, because you might start to think yourself. If you're, facing a lot of opposition, you might start to question yourself. In private relationships, This could be a new relationship with an earth sign individual, a Taurus, or a Virgo. That's always a big one. Capricorn, where but I see that as positive, whereas you were with a fire sign individual, where it is more of a, kind of I was going to say a nasty situation, but it can just be a very combative situation, an Aries or a Leo or a Sagittarius. And just to let you know that you have this transit of Saturn in the 7th house, which is Sagittarius. Your opposite sign is Sagittarius. So you may, this may be a marital partner who is you're not getting along with, and you have a new relationship. And this new relationship is something that is much more stable than what you're dealing with right now. The card that goes along with this is another card of stability, the Four of Pentacles. And so, when I was putting out these cards and I saw the Four of Pentacles, I was thinking, the first thought I was thinking was, you may have to be very frugal, or at least don't be disorganized with your finances, because even if you just got a new job, you still may be not sure if you're going to stay at that place. And this is also a card, though, of financial security. So it may also be saying that whatever new job you got, it's really a much better situation. I'm recording this on February 17th. So this is for March. So if you're listening in February and you're saying, well, I don't have a new job, maybe you will have. Maybe it's just a matter of time. Maybe you're watching this prematurely. And of course this is a general reading in terms of just being for everybody. So keep that in mind as well. In personal relationships, this reiterates the fact that an earth sign individual is a good influence on you because they will create stability in your life. You may have had a lot of chaos with a fire sign or somebody who has a very volatile nature that you're currently with. Now here's another Pentacles. Higher message, Two of Pentacles, a choice that may need to be made. This can be also a card of having a lot on your plate. You may be juggling two jobs. And so it could be two people that you must choose from. But the work situation, it could be that you may be offered a job that is overseas. And, that might be the Ace of Pentacles. Maybe that's a job overseas. And maybe you are not sure what to do about it. Maybe that's been kind of lurking in the background and you are working somewhere else and you're like, you know what, maybe I should just pull up stakes and just move and just, even though I'm not sure that I'm going to want to do this, I don't like where I'm at right now. Because even the challenge card is the Five of Swords in the reverse position. Now, even in the upright position, this is not a pleasant card. This is a card, I'll say, regardless, because this is going to be the challenge position, so it's going to be the negative connotation, which might be more of the upright. I can't remember if the reversed is the opposite of the upright. But this is a card of slander, people who are, maybe spreading lies or telling half-truths about you. They could be poisoning the well if you're working in an environment with backstabbing types of people. And right along that column in the middle, we have someone defending themselves, deciding between two things, and backstabbing. Sometimes this card is an empty victory. So it sometimes it can mean, you may have really thought that this is what you wanted to, rise at this particular organization, and you may find that it wasn't worth it. But if you have more than one gig, you have something to fall back on. And so it's not like all is lost. But you may be kind of blinded by the fact that you might be saying to yourself, well, I just got this job and maybe it's paying a lot or something like that. And even though I'm unhappy, maybe I'll just stay here a year and it'll be okay. But deep down inside that it's kind of hard for you to do that because you just cannot stand it. Because you know that this is happening. The Five of Swords, you may know that somebody is talking smack about you. In a private situation, if you're choosing between two people, it could be saying that the other, it could be like that you're still not necessarily going to feel a sense of resolution, that there might be some kind of an empty victory. Now, that would suggest more to me that you're not the one choosing, that somebody else is choosing, and that you are the side person. And you may feel like this person loves me more than they love their spouse. And it's kind of like this ego boost, but it's like it's not necessarily a good situation. The reason that, and it's funny because it's kind of confusing. I did say that I feel that there's a stability. If there's another party, I feel like that person is actually a stable influence. So maybe it's more of the person that you're with right now. Maybe they're the one that is bad-mouthing you to other people, maybe to family members, maybe to your mutual friends, and you feel that you're being judged unfairly. So that could be happening for you as well. The advice, or what is coming in, is the Queen of Pentacles. This can be a very good omen for financial security. It could be some people decide, what, I'm going to just focus on my own, what's really important to me is maintaining my own nest, feathering my nest, And it's funny because, I don't associate Gemini with domesticity too much, okay? But obviously that is definitely a generalization, especially if you have Cancer planets. That could be more, you could be more domestic because of that. But I also think that, and I also think because you're very active and you like to move around a lot, and you don't necessarily, you might feel very confined in the home. But this could be speaking of that other person again, that earth sign individual is going to bring that quality to your life of, personal comfort. Maybe, you have been even neglecting yourself and not resting enough and not enjoying home life enough, and you've been too busy doing things, and this other person will bring that out in you. And even with your finances, you may be thinking, I'm going to stay at a place that I can build upon my, maybe you're saving for a home, because even this card is about really working, the Knight of Pentacles, this is the outcome, really working diligently to build up your resources. Maybe you're saving for a home, and you are going to be very focused and ambitious. This could be the person that comes in. This card is associated with, I think it's Taurus. So if you're involved with the Taurus, if that's the earth sign, but I always associate it with Capricorn, so I don't know. But, you know, for a Gemini, I could see you most likely with a Virgo person because you're both ruled by Mercury. So you'd have that mental rapport going on. But whatever, this may just be a facet of you right now. And of course, as I said, you do have these goals and career matters that are kind of in the forefront for you. So, yeah, this is an example of a general reading that seems to focus more on one area than the other, but you never know. It could be romance for some of you. Anyway, Gemini, I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great March. Bye.